I saw a video where someone was like, the key of G sharp minor is the best key for subs. And I was like, well, that's not telling the whole story. So I wanted you to get the full picture and the full story of this. So you guys probably have heard at some point that being key conscious with subs is important. That is because of the range of sub frequencies. Now, most people tend to think that sub frequencies are from 40 hertz to 60. And anything under that is still a sub frequency. It's just really, really hard to replicate in playback, right? Even on a big like festival or live venue setting, anything under 40 can be really hard to replicate, even in synths, right? So 40 to 60 is your golden range. Now 60 is getting a little bit higher. Some people will say that 65 is still sub. So there's a little bit of buffer between 70 and 80, and 70 to 100 is usually where your bass range, your bass tones start. But if you stay in that range, you should be good to go. Now that's why the key of G sharp is not the only key to get a good sub. A couple things come into play here, and I wrote them down. I'm going to put this on screen for you guys. A couple things come into play. How you're moving in your progression will dictate what key you want to be in, right? So let's say in step one, you chose that your sub's really important and you want to have really big, meaty sub. Next is how many keys, how many tones are you moving away from, right? So if you start on an F, do you only go to maybe you're playing like an F minor and you go to like a E or a D and then up to an A type thing. If you're moving around a lot, it might make sense to put that same progression in the key of G versus F sharp, right? Because then you're upping everything by a half. And that coincides with the sub frequencies. So the sub frequencies go from, I wrote them down so I wouldn't have to search for this on the video. They essentially go from E1 up to B1, and that's pushing it, or B flat 1 to be safe. So E1 starts at 41.2 hertz, and B flat 1 is 58.3 hertz. So B1's at 61.7.